Hey, Greg, thanks for doing this. We got a couple of technical glitches, but I'll get in a couple of questions and then we'll run it around the group here. This Stockton team playing its first game of the season, based on having just done that a week ago, can you get a feel for how they might come out in their first game?
Well, if it's anything that we felt, the excitement of playing a game, they're going to be jacked up to come out. We're going to have to match their intensity, if not surpass it, and be ready to go. It'll be interesting to see their feel out process in the first period. I know for us, it took us a little bit to get going in the first game, but more than anything, we've got to have the energy and be prepared because it's an excited team, I'm sure, to play a game.
I was wondering what your feelings were on some of the puck battles that took place over that 4-game series and how your team did both along the wall and in open ice.
As a staff, we thought we did really good. It's definitely a talking point for us, owning the corners, getting stalls, making sure that we're positioning ourselves correctly in those areas of the rink so that we can come out with the puck and transition the game. So it's been a good start to the season in that sense. Still a lot more to build on, but overall we're pretty happy.
All right, I'm going to throw it around the horn here. First up, Zach Power. Zach, go ahead.
Thanks, Todd. I was wondering what's the status on Ian Scott?
Ian Scott, week to week right now. Hopefully we'll see him soon, just for his own mental health and making sure that we get him back playing hockey as soon as possible. It's been a long road for him, but knowing him and his work ethic and his discipline, it should be sooner than later.
You said earlier it was a part of a groin injury. Is that similar to what he experienced last season?
No, it's not. Completely different.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Joshua Cloak, go ahead.
Love the double duties here, Todd. You maybe deserve a raise. Greg, when you look at a player like Rourke Chartier, who's had a very, very long road back to playing, what do you make of the way that he's kind of almost seamlessly made it back? And have you had conversations to kind of get to know him at all?
Yeah, I've gotten to know him quite a bit. He's a really awesome person. He really, really cares about his craft, his nutrition, his workouts, his details on the ice. He works hard every day. The whole group, even some of the veterans, have discussed just how much they valued having him on this team and the type of person that he is and what kind of leadership qualities he brings. He's added a lot to our team. Obviously, it's been a long time since he's played some games, so I'm sure for himself, he holds himself to a high standard. It may take more time to see his best self on the ice, and even with that, he's definitely contributed in a lot of good ways for us here in these first 4 games.
And I'm sure you're going to be asked about him a lot. Nick Robertson, we've seen what he can do in a game, but maybe take us inside of practice. What does he do in practices that you think really stands out? Is there anything about his work ethic or anything specifically that he does that really impresses you?
The consistency in which he works. He's a very driven hockey player. The kid burns to be on the ice and shoot pucks, but it's not just the shooting of the pucks. I think that everybody sees on the ice and how intense he is in those moments of the game, but his details away from it as well. He's still a young player, learning, wanting to build consistency in his game and round out his game, and he's working every day at that. He watches a lot of film. He asks a lot of questions. He has the right processes in place for him to get to where he needs to go. And over time, I've even seen it just in the short time he's been here, the growth in him over the course of these 4 games.
Thanks, Joshua. On to Mike Shulman. Mike, go ahead.
Thanks for stepping in here, Todd. Greg, Timothy Liljegren is obviously, he's tied for the team lead in scoring. He had 4 shots Friday. He's playing with a lot of confidence offensively. Earlier this week, you said you're trying to get him to kind of push the envelope in that sense and continue to develop offensively. And he's mentioned that you talked to him about kind of how he picks his spots in joining the offense. Do you mind shedding some light on those conversations?
Yeah, for the most part, the process when working with players for myself is posing questions to them, getting them to critically think about different scenarios, whether it be offense or defense. Sometimes as coaches, just giving them the answers we think we want to hear maybe gets in the way of, number one, their buy-in in terms of what they're studying and what they're trying to improve on. But by building their confidence in how they evaluate themselves, how they're watching film, what lens they're looking at it through, I just try to guide them sometimes towards answers if what they give just needs a little nudge. But ultimately, within that process, Timothy's a really smart player, and he comes to his own conclusions and works through that, which is a great sign for an elite athlete for his future and what he can become once he continues to build that process out and get strong with it.
Thanks, Mike. Moving on, just 3 more questions here, Greg. Up next, Nick Barton. Nick, go ahead.
Thanks, Todd. Hey, Greg, I've asked Timothy and Scott both this. They've both said video games have been something that they do to get their mind off the game. What would you say that you do to do that?
Talk with family, call my parents, the relationships in my life, reconnect with friends. I think it's really important to have a little bit of time away from the game. When you're on the road like this for an extended period of time, there aren't a lot of great opportunities outside of phone calls and hanging out with staff and just having more discussion that's away from our jobs. But for me, it's just more connecting with people and socializing and having conversations outside of the workplace that kind of keeps me energized and keeps me going. And then the other nice part is when we're on the road like this, there's ample time to continue to work and get things that's needed for the group and help in any way.
All right, 2 more questions. Justin Levine, go ahead.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking the time again. So, we've talked a lot about what's gone on throughout this series in Manitoba, but now you're heading into Calgary to play against Stockton. What are your expectations for this team now that they've got the opening series behind them? And is there anything specifically that, as a team, you're wanting them to, I guess, work on moving into Series 2?
Yeah, the expectations are that we continue to grow and get better. We know the trend line isn't going to be a straight, perfect trend line. There's going to be dips, but hopefully over time, the trend line continues to move in a vertical direction where we can see that we're improving and the intent and the effort is there to improve. Going into this next series, I'd like to see us be able to come out of our D zone a little bit better, more efficiently when we go back for pucks. If we can transition the game out of our end a little bit faster, a little bit easier, and limit the turnovers that we've had that really fueled Manitoba's offense at times, we could be in a much better spot in that sense. But overall, good start to the 4 games. Looking to improve in these next 4.
All right, Greg, last question. This one comes from David Sis. David?
Hey, Todd, thank you. Greg, yesterday we talked a little bit about how Andrew D'Agostini got the first 4 starts. Do you have any thoughts on who's going to start in the next game? Or are you thinking about giving the start again to Agostini or somebody else this time?
We'll see. I'm talking with our staff and John Elkin, our goalie coach. We have a plan, but we'll talk it over. We'll have someone ready for tomorrow, and the expectation that it's another game, and regardless if you're a goalie, D or forward, we're continuing to improve and get better with every rep.